Hi guys, welcome to the new video. And there is an update that tomorrow I have two interviews, so I am fully engrossed in the preparation. But while preparing, see, in my all interviews, one question was the first. It is the first question. It is the most important question that set the base of your interview. When the interviewer asks you that what are your daily roles and responsibilities, then the interviewer wants to know that what you do, what are the tasks that you're performing on a daily basis. When you answer that, whatever you tell, then the interview gets to know that okay, a person is working majorly on this thing, and then the interviewer will start asking questions on that. And whenever you are clearing the first technical round and you'll go to second technical round, they'll basically focus on what you have worked and what issues you have faced and how you have solved it, because they want to check that how much you have worked on it and how efficiently you have solved that issue. So basically, this is the most important thing that you have. So today we look at this most important question of our interview. So first of all, like as a DevOps engineer, when you are giving your interview, like I am giving as for AWS DevOps. So when they will ask me that what are your daily roles and responsibilities, so my answer is that first when I log in, I check the dashboards monitoring in monitoring tool, that what all if there is any error in any environment, or is there any issue happening. If there is any issue, if it's production environment or anything, we have to uh, directly connect to development team or anything. The issue is from which side, we have to find it out, we have to work on the RCA, and then we have to connect with the team, or we have to look it into that, like look into that issue. Else, the my second task is that to manage the CI/CD pipelines that I have created, and if there is new requirement for creating the new CI/CD pipelines, that I work on, and then deploying it the applications into ECS, EKS, and basically that is looked by other team members, but I have an idea how the deployment is being done. So this basically sets the base that interview comes to know, okay, you are majorly working on managing the CI/CD pipelines, or how, if you are monitoring it also, and if you told that you have an idea of deploying the application into the AWS services, then they will ask that too. So first of all, they'll ask that okay, fine, and then you can tell that how you, like what all issues have you faced, or how you have created this pipeline, how you create, tell us the workflow and everything. So you will start by saying that earlier we were using, like that's what my answer is, you can frame it accordingly. So earlier I was using Jenkins, and that build were getting triggered using GitHub webhook. And then we were using multi-branch repo pipeline. So like for every branch there were different pipelines, and we were using declarative syntax for writing the pipeline code. But then we came to know that there are I came to know that there can be a way of smart pipeline, that we can provide the parameters of the environments, and we can use when directive in our Jenkins files. That will efficient, in that way we don't have to write different pipeline script for every branch. Okay. And then accordingly we can say that for the staging environment, we just have to deploy the apps into this environment and test it out, and for production we have to send the notification and everything. After Jenkins, as we shifted to AWS, we started using AWS DevOps. There also we are we are using AWS code pipeline, where we are fetching the code from the GitHub using GitHub webhook, and we are like we have to configure it in developers tool, in AWS, and then we have to mention the source and our pipeline name, and accordingly we have to mention our if we are using AWS code build also, we have to mention our build spec.yaml file too. So they'll get the idea, okay, you are doing all this. Then they may ask that what errors you have faced. Like, uh, have you faced any errors? You must have faced errors while creating the pipeline, and how did you solve it? So basically, your answer should be, first of all, I've seen the issue that the GitHub webhook is not getting triggered. Like, the pipeline is not getting triggered when I configure the GitHub webhook. So I saw that while configuring the Jenkins URL in GitHub, I missed the slash at the end. That if that is missing, then the pipeline will fail. There can be more more scenarios where a GitHub webhook cannot trigger if there is any missing credentials, or credentials are not configured properly. So if we have not installed GitHub plugin, so plugin GitHub integration plugin, GitHub branch source plugin is required. Then while fetching the there can be some other issues also, like while fetching the repository name that we have mentioned, that is not present, or credential issue, something like this. There can be more scenarios like plugins are outdated, then syntax is not correct for our pipeline, and while building there is a workspace conflicts, there is a lock or something, or we should clean our workspace by using stage, the clean ws, that thing we have to do while building, so that cleans our workspace. And then missing tools, or incorrect agent labels, or issue with the credentials, you have seen these issues. Then they may ask, okay, and how did you solve it? Then I check the logs in Jenkins. Like when you go to manage Jenkins, you can see system logs over there, and you can find out. And our Jenkins was not we have to update our Jenkins always, and then we have to test the Jenkins files first of all locally. So these were the how this in this way I solved it. Then in AWS code pipeline, they may again ask that what all issues you have faced there. So in AWS code pipeline, the major issues that I've seen is IAM rules, because everything is based on IAM rule over there. So sometimes the GitHub triggers the pipeline is not getting triggered because IAM rules, the rules that you have provided are not sufficient. So those rules should be checked, or the bucket in which we are pushing the artifact, that doesn't have the sufficient permission, or it is there is an memory issue or something like this. And the best way to debug these issues are getting the logs in CloudWatch, because in CloudWatch you can get the view logs of all the code pipeline events, and also you can set the CloudWatch alarm, or you can use the or you can use AWS X-ray to monitor the for detailed performance tracking. So yeah, in this way a person will come to know, okay, you have identified the errors. Basically errors, because errors you will face. If you will say no, I haven't faced any error, that is not a good impression, because that simply means that you haven't worked, because it's not like that you will never face any issues. Then they may ask about, as you mentioned that you monitor, so how you are monitoring it, what tools are you using, and do you have any idea that how they're how they are configured? If you have any idea, you can say that Prometheus Grafana is used, and we are deploying it, like we are configuring it using Helm charts and all this. And if you are saying that you are expert in deploying the applications on AWS services, then you can mention that how is you are using code deploy for it, how are you installing it, and how are you creating EKS cluster, and how are you assigning the IAM roles to it. Then you are, if you are using EC2, then how the node groups are created and everything. Okay, and then you are using code deploy to deploy the application. So basically, these are the major questions that they look upon, and that gives them the idea that you have actually worked on that tool and you're not bluffing. So yeah, that's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful for everyone, because this is what I have experienced in all my interviews. They first of all check that what I do and do I actually do it or not. So yeah, you should be very prepared for this question because this will be asked from everyone. So that's all for today's video. Bye.